here I am back out in the shop again, sitting at the computer reading a little while ago, and I stumbled across an article talking about the Washington State Attorney General. His name is Bob Ferguson. He's got a plan to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And in his view, it's going to be any magazine over 10 rounds. Basically, same law California's had. Same laws that California has. Didn't release any specifics on the guns he's talking about banning, although it does say, from the article I read, it looks like he wants to emulate California's laws. His justification for this, his public statement that he released says, "I have a duty to protect the public as well as uphold the Constitution." Did you catch that? Uphold the Constitution. My proposal will ban some of the deadliest weapons while respecting the Second Amendment right to bear arms. How to address this? First off, the deadliest weapons. You mean the weapons used the very least in crime? The article actually went in there and it listed the FBI stats for the state of Washington. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. In 2014, the most recent year the FBI has released their statistics for, there was 172 homicides in the entire state of Washington. Six of those were committed with rifles. They keep saying that they respect the Second Amendment, that they understand that they have a duty to uphold the Constitution. These anti-gun politicians apparently, let me quote Inigo Montoya, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Respecting the Constitution, upholding the Constitution means you don't violate it. The Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. That doesn't mean you ban guns that you don't like and that you can't remotely, logically justify banning. They're used the least of all firearms to commit crimes. There's no justification for banning them. You just want to ban them because they're scary looking." He cites a survey. The Attorney General, Bob Ferguson here, is citing a survey conducted of Washington and Oregon residents. Survey conducted by an anti-gun organization. Where was that? Washington Ceasefire is the name of the organization. And the survey contacted a whopping 310 people. According to the survey, the people who released the survey, it included a great many gun owners. And then it also referenced some studies that were done by Everytown. So let me see. An anti-gun organization conducts a poll of people and based statistics on information gathered by another anti-gun organization, and these are all being used by an anti-gun politician to try and justify banning guns that aren't ever used in crime. Sorry, I tend to think of things as logically as I can, and I'm just not seeing it. So, if you're a Washington State resident, start talking to your politicians, start making phone calls before your state ends up as screwed up as my state. California citizens can't own can't own assault weapons. Doesn't stop the criminals. Our crime rate hasn't decreased. Recently, Gavin Newsom talked. He had a press conference talking about his proposition, Prop 63, that he's pushing right now, and he referenced the dramatic drop in violent crime rate, murder rate that California experienced since the mid-1990s, and he tried to attribute that to gun laws, because that's California's gun ban was passed, their assault weapon ban was passed in 1989. So he's attributing this dramatic drop. It was like double the rest of the national drop in rate, violent crime rate. So California had like a 56% drop, which was double the national rate. He tried to attribute that to the assault weapons ban, which is bullshit. The reason the crime rate dropped so dramatically is about that same time, mid-1990s, which is right when I got into law enforcement, California passed the three strikes laws. They passed several other laws that all enhanced sentencing of criminals, of violent criminals. The reason the violent crime rate dropped so dramatically in California compared to the rest of the nation is we were locking up all the bad guys. All the violent felons were in prison. They were staying in prison. That is, of course, until the Democrats, who are now in office, started releasing them, beginning with AB 109, Prop 47, and now Prop 57, which is on the ballot. So, don't buy the hype. It had the crime rate that I guarantee Bob Ferguson is going to try and reference. Our drop in violent crime rate here in California had nothing to do with the gun laws that were passed, and everything to do with the fact that we were locking up criminals. So, California or Washington residents, start making phone calls. Get this moron kicked out of office. He should be. It says he was elected in 2012. I'm assuming he's got another election coming up shortly. You don't need somebody like that running your state like the Democrats have run California.